This is a story about 4-year-old Dwanna Sims who disappeared from a mall in Livonia, Michigan on December 11th, 1994. Or so that's the way the story goes per his mom, Dwanna Sims Wiggins. Dwanna Sims was dropped off at his mom's friend's house to spend the night on December the 10th, 1994, while his mom, Dwanna, went on a date with her boyfriend at the time named Victor White. While there at the friend's house, Dwanna kept talking about how excited he was to be going to the mall the next day with his mom and the toy that he was going to get while at the mall. Remember that part. Dwanna told the friend that he was going to the mall with his mom the next day and that he would get a toy. That's very important in this story. Moving forward, Dwanna picks up Dwanna approximately 11 a.m. on Sunday, December the 11th, and head to the laundromat to do laundry. While at the laundromat, Dwanna watched cartoons. That's another key point I want you guys to remember. Dwanna reported that while at the laundromat, Dwanna sat there and watched cartoons that Sunday, late morning, early afternoon. After laundry, Dwanna decides to head to her mom's house to pick up a vacuum cleaner. Dwanna claimed the mall was a spare of the moment idea, and she was thinking about leaving Dwanna at home with her boyfriend, Victor, but decided not to since Victor was sleeping and didn't want to bother him. So the friend that Dwanna spent the night at her home the night before kept saying how excited he was to be going to the mall the next day with his mother. However, his mother, Dwanna, reported to authorities after Dwanna's disappearance that the mall idea was spur of the moment. I don't understand how it was spur of the moment when Dwanna kept talking about going. Moving forward. While at the mall, Dwanna gets into it with a man over a parking spot. Again, not sure the significance in that, but that's part of the report being told to authorities after Dwanna disappears. Dwanna and Dwanna enter the mall through the Target store approximately 1:45 p.m. on Sunday, December the 11th. They walk past a toy store and Dwanna stops at the window but did not go in, however, begged his mom for the toy he saw in the window. She tells him no, then they proceed to walk away, or so Dwanna thinks he walked away with her. It was common per Dwanna that Dwanna often walked away from her, as she reports he was a very independent 4-year-old. So again, it wasn't abnormal for him to walk away from her. However, on this particular day, she says she was passing the perfume shop and realized that Dwanna was no longer walking alongside her and she had lost sight of him. She began searching for Dwanna. As a matter of fact, per her, she searched for Dwanna throughout the mall for about 2 hours. Keep that in mind as well. Your 4-year-old is missing. Yeah, it's not uncommon per you that he gets away from you, but you searched for him a whole 2 hours before you alerted authorities. So again, she searched for him for about 2 hours before approaching a custodian worker at the mall. She tells that worker that she has lost her son 2 hours prior and couldn't find him. So the custodian worker radios for mall security. It wasn't until mall security met up with Dwanna and the custodial worker that Dwanna tells the security officer, "Oh yeah, my mother, Brenda Harris, works at the Lady Foot Locker here, and maybe Dwanna went there because he knows that he's used to, I guess, visiting his grandmother at Lady Foot Locker at the mall where she works sometimes." Pause. For any mother, any father, any guardian, if you knew that, why did it take you 2 hours to think of that? Your baby is missing. You can't find him. That would have been one of the first places I ran to, scream into the high heavens, and asking my mom to help me find my baby. But she did not do this for 2 hours, nor did she go to Foot Locker herself to see if Dwan had went there to meet up with his grandmother, found his way to his grandmother. Her mom, Brenda Harris, at that time, per mall security, was kind of shaken and concerned that Dwanna had not contacted her prior. Why was she just contacting her? Again, even her mom thought that was a little weird, but that's her daughter and her grandson, and her first thought and priority was, let's find Dwan. So Livonia police arrive and they conduct a thorough search of the mall, but there is no sign of Dwan. Dwanna is then taken to the police station in Livonia, Michigan, where she is questioned and given a polygraph test in which she fails. Her mom then explained her daughter failed the polygraph because she was under stress and her son had just disappeared. On Monday, December the 12th, the search for Dwan resumed with the investigators assigned to the case. The investigators included the FBI, the Detroit Police, the Michigan State Police, as well as dogs to try to pick up Dwan's scent. And at this point, the reason why they involved the Detroit Police in the FBI, of course, is the missing child, but the Detroit Police, because they were getting concerned that he may have not disappeared in Livonia from the mall. And the last time anybody saw him was in Detroit, outside of Dwanna, who says he was in Livonia, Michigan with her. Victor, Dwanna's boyfriend, was questioned and given a lie detector as well, but he passes. Dwan's father passed a lie detector test as well. About 2 p.m., Dwanna was taken back to the mall, and this was 2 p.m. on Monday, December the 12th. She was taken back to the mall to retrace her steps again with investigators. As another group of detectives and investigators were reviewing surveillance videos, and after hours and hours of reviewing the videos from the day prior, the day Dwanna reported Dwan disappeared, they finally spot Dwanna at 4 p.m. walking into the mall and going straight to the custodian. Let that sink in. They reviewed hours and hours of video. Sorry, guys. Hours and hours of videos of the day before. And finally, they do spot Dwanna at the mall, entering the Target store, like she said, at 4 p.m. without Dwan. Remember, she reported that they entered the mall about 1:45 p.m. through Target together. But the surveillance shows that she entered that mall. It didn't show her prior to 4 p.m. entering that mall through the Target store, going straight to the custodian to report she just lost her son. That's a little fishy, guys. I'm just reporting the facts of the case, not trying to be too judgmental, but that's definitely fishy. That just don't add up. 1 + 1 is 2 all day long. If you had a child, if I had a child missing in the mall for 2 whole hours, everyone around me would have known it. You would have seen me on surveillance, panicking, running through the mall, asking people, going to my mother at Lady Foot Locker. Again, the first time Dwanna Sims is observed is at 4 p.m., going straight to the custodian worker, reporting her son is missing, and the custodian worker calling security. Never shows her looking for her son, let alone never showed her son walking into the mall with her. Again, the custodian worker is seen paging security at 4 p.m. Dwanna couldn't explain why Dwan was not seen on camera and stuck to her story. She was adamant. I don't know why he's not on surveillance. He was with me when I walked in there, period. She just could not explain why he couldn't be seen and only she could be seen. She also allowed the search team or the investigative team to search her home. So she did allow them to search her home in Detroit, but nothing was found. 3 days into the investigation, police started questioning Dwanna on a more diligent level. They're like giving it to her. And they also moved their search for Dwan from Wonderland Mall to areas around Dwanna's home. They checked garbage cans, they checked vacant homes and things like that. So you kind of know at that time that they were not believing her story as to what happened to him. They questioned family, friends. They went to family, friends' homes. Again, they didn't believe that Dwanna was innocent. Dwan's father, Zachary, as a matter of fact, really stood by Dwanna. He just didn't believe that she could be involved in Dwan's disappearance. So he definitely believed her story, and he wasn't a suspect as he did pass some lie detector tests himself. He didn't understand why Dwan was being treated like a suspect. The family and her friends and her mom kind of figured that she was being treated so hostile in the situation because of the Susan Smith case had just occurred earlier in 1994, just earlier in that year. That's the story where Susan Smith reported that her 14-month and 3-year-old sons were kidnapped by a black man, and there was an all-out search for this suspect and for her children. Come to find out, she had drowned her kids in her car, and she ended up getting, I believe, 50 years in prison in 1995 for this crime. On a side note, Susan Smith will be eligible for parole in 2 years from now for that crime she committed. Not sure if she'll get the parole, but she will be eligible for that crime of her 14-month and 3-year-old sons in 1994. But going back to Dwanna Sims, it was just believed that she was being scrutinized because of the Susan Smith case. Moving forward, Dwanna is given another lie detector test where she fails it after leaving midway through the test. So she fails the test, the second or third lie detector test, but she didn't complete it. So I'm not sure if that's why she failed it or totally the questioning and the way she answered is why she failed it. But she stopped the test and she stomped out of the police station. Police just continued their investigation. They even went to the laundromat Dwanna said she and Dwan went to before going to the mall and learned the laundromat had 8 basic cable channels, which none of them played cartoons on Sundays. Remember I said to remember how Dwanna reported he watched cartoons on Sunday at the laundromat that day? Well, apparently, per the investigation, this laundromat only had 8 basic channels and none of them played cartoons. Another aha moment in this case, or something to make you say, okay, that did not add up either. Moving forward, Dwanna got tired of police scrutinizing her and went on the media. She went to the media herself to try to help her case and plead her case. She did numerous interviews along with her mother, Beverly. During those interviews, Beverly and Dwanna believed that someone took Dwan who needed someone to love and care for. So in their mind's eye, they were verbally stating publicly that they believed someone took him that needed a child and just wanted a child to love, and that he's somewhere safe and one day he'll be back. 3 months after Dwan's disappearance, Dwanna moved out of Michigan, and Beverly quit her job at the mall, stating it was too unbearable to continue to work there after her grandson disappeared from there. In 2003, Wonderland Mall was torn down. Dwanna did another interview in 2009 stating, "I have not given up. When it's time for Dwan to come back home, he will." In 2019, a man came forward to the Livonia police and Dwanna claiming he was Dwan. However, Dwanna said, "This man is not my son," and a DNA test proved her right. So in 2019, a gentleman said that he believed he was Dwanna Sims, the missing 4-year-old boy, in 1994. Dwanna immediately said, "No, this is not my son." How did she know that immediately before seeing him, meeting him, talking to him, and DNA test? I have no idea, but she was right. This wasn't her son. Again, DNA test proved that this gentleman was not her son. Moving forward, I have to reportedly or unfortunately report that Ms. Dwanna Sims Wiggins passed away in December of 2020 with no public answers to what really happened to her son on that fateful day, December 12th, 1994. Did Dwan take with her any answers as to what may have happened to her son that day? I don't know. The inconsistencies of this story and of what she reported happened that day makes me question it. But will we ever know what happened to little Dwanna Sims on December the 12th, 1994? Here's a news clip of the report 2 years ago of Dwanna's passing.
The mother of Dwanna Sims, the 4-year-old boy who disappeared from Wonderland Mall in Livonia, has died without ever finding out what happened to her son. This is a story we have been following for nearly 26 years to the day.
After years of tips, clues, and dead ends, Dwanna Wiggins moved to North Carolina, where she passed earlier this week. Larry Spruill joins us live. And Larry, do we know what caused her death?
Well, Kimberly and Devin, I talked to Livonia police, and a spokesperson tells me that they got information she died from a heart attack. Now, years later, many people are still wondering what happened to little Dwanna Sims. I asked police, since his mother is now dead, is this the end for this case?
We actually got the call this morning that Mrs. Sims had passed away.
Captain Ron Tegg with Livonia Police says he's had numerous conversations with Dwanna Wiggins, the mother of little Dwanna Sims, over the years. It's the case he will never forget and still hoping they will solve. But Tegg tells me the death of Dwanna will make things more difficult to do that. Is the case over with now, or?
Absolutely not. We have detectives and a cold case unit that are continuing to look at the case, see if there's anything that was missed.
And the search for a missing 4-year-old boy.
Everything happened back in 1994 here at Wonderland Mall in Livonia when Dwanna Wiggins told police her son disappeared while they were shopping. Tech says they looked over every piece of video from the mall that day and they saw Dwanna on the security videos at the mall. But what about little Dwanna?
He was never in any of those videos.
Since then, Dwanna moved to North Carolina and denied she had any involvement with her son's disappearance. Earlier this year, a man claimed on social media that he was Dwanna Sims. police even performed a DNA test on him.
The latest is we're still waiting on the results.
So as of now, Ted says they're back at the beginning. I asked him if he believed little Dwanna was still alive.
Obviously, over this time frame, it's it's very discouraging for us that we haven't received any other tips or any other information.
And police are still asking anyone with any new information about this case to call Livonia police.